7:36 right now, and it is the end of an era for the New York Archdiocese as longtime Cardinal Timothy Dolan prepares to step down.
And this morning, Pope Leo announced the Cardinal's replacement for Archbishop. New York is home to nearly 3 million Catholics. Fordham theology professor Michael Lee, who is also the director of the Center for Catholic Studies, joins us this morning to discuss this decision. So, Michael, good to see you this morning.
Nice to see you.
So Cardinal Dolan, they're required to submit their resignation when they hit that age of 75. He did it back in February. How did things play out? Because cardinals oftentimes will submit their resignation, but it's up to the Pope to accept it and then start that search. So how quickly did this all happen?
Well, that's right. He submitted the resignation and there was a pause. Some wondered why Pope Francis was taking so long. And then, of course, we had his untimely death. So it was just kind of in limbo. It's interesting to note, though, that the dicastery of bishops that studies who would become the next bishop during the time of Francis was actually our Pope Leo. So he was already in on the process. And then with last week's release of a letter by Cardinal Dolan about the settling of the sex abuse crisis, I think that was a signal of closure. He really finished the task, one of the tasks that he was originally hired to do. And with that, I think you had an appropriate moment where his resignation could be accepted.
Oh, okay, I see. So can you kind of lay it out how that actually works? Like, are people nominated to be considered? Is it just the Pope that nominates people? How does that work exactly?
Yeah, so there's a Vatican office called the Dicastery of Bishops, and one of their probably the most important job they have is, in fact, vetting candidates for bishops, keeping in touch with all the bishops around the world, so that when one resigns or passes away, they would make a recommendation to the Pope of a candidate or maybe candidates that the Pope can decide upon. But like I said, Pope Leo was head of that office before being named Pope, so he knows the world's bishops very, very well.
Yeah, and the person who's coming in, Bishop Ronald Hicks, is not yet a cardinal, much like Timothy Cardinal Dolan was when he came in, right? And I remember going to Rome when he was elevated to cardinal. It was the first time I ever met Cardinal Dolan. So can you talk about the process of how they select and why you don't have to be a cardinal? This is a bishop, but it is such a large diocese that he will become a cardinal, likely.
Most likely. I mean, such an important see like New York has always had a cardinal. So it is likely and probably in the near future. Obviously, there are other cardinals. The scholar Avery Dulles, who was at Fordham, he was a cardinal. So there are other candidates. But when you're talking about the Archbishop of New York, yes, in all probability, we'll see him elevated to the role of cardinal as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cardinal Dolan is known as being very conservative. How does that play into how Bishop Hicks was chosen and how they differ in their ideologies a little bit?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think in many ways, Bishop Hicks is very much, if we can say it, a Pope Leo bishop. Mm-hmm. He's not going to grab the headlines or the spotlights. But he's got a lot of experience, service on the ground. You know, he worked in an orphanage in El Salvador for 5 years. So like Pope Leo, he has extensive service in Latin America. So he's bringing a global perspective to the office. And so I think we'll see someone who might not garner the same headlines, but will rebuild trust and kind of tend to the pews in New York.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about grabbing headlines, and Cardinal Dolan was known for his boisterous personality, his joking sense of humor, right? He was often here making jokes. And how do you kind of talk about the difference of how that will affect a New York Archdiocese when Catholics are not coming to the church, they're leaving the church, right? So they're trying to find people who are going to be all-encompassing to bring people back to the church. It's something we spoke to Cardinal Dolan much about. Will this new individual be able to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult challenge, but I think we've got somebody in Bishop Hicks who's very pastoral. He's a real listener. He can bring people together in his own kind of quiet way. As much as Cardinal Dolan had such a charisma about him, he also made a lot of decisions that divided some Catholics, or that were difficult for some Catholics. And I think Bishop Hicks is a very pastoral person who might not spark as much fire, but I think he's the right person for the moment in New York.
Yeah, I think for a lot of Catholics, this is a very exciting time. Professor Lee, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.
Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. You too.